Hello and welcome to the EFL Fantasy Podcast. My name is Jamie.
My name is Angus.
And my name is Dan.
And it's good to be back. I hope everybody's doing well. How are you two going?
Yeah, good. I finally sort of kicked COVID, which obviously meant that I couldn't record a couple of things. So, yeah, glad to be back now and sort of back to full health and everything. So that's the main thing for me.
Good stuff. You, Dan?
Very mixed weekend. Gaffr, not bad. Luton, unfortunately, I have to talk about it. But a nice little cheeky winner on a bet. So, yeah.
We'll definitely get into that bet a bit later on when we get towards them games. I just realised I asked you, how are you going instead of how are you doing? It's been that long since I've been on the podcast. I forgot how to do it. So, yeah. Let's get straight into it. Gaffer-wise, how have you got on this week, Angus?
So not too bad. I'm on the triple. I've got 85 so far, which is good for a 9-place green arrow up to 36th. Played it on Victor, Brownhill and Barlasser. So obviously Brownhill and Barlasser both got a goal. Victor's done nothing yet. I've also got Wilson on 6, Pal on 4, Teller on 7, Sarr on 9, Sargent, Chair, Bree and Bramall doing nothing for me. And I have Reese and Kamara on the bench. So could have been better, but at the moment, I certainly can't complain at that with the rise as well. So and plenty to go in midweek.
Good stuff. You, Dan?
So I was on triple. I got 101 minus 4. My 3 players on the triple were Pookie for 45, Brownhill for 27, and Victor for 6. Other scorers: Wilson 6, Giles 4, Aaron's 3, Chair 2, and Barlasser 7. So yeah, Pookie and Brownhill massively holding up the team. Obviously, a few players playing in midweek, so hopefully improve my score. I've gone up about 140 places to 150th in the world, so maybe getting the top 100 would be good.
You've got to be happy with that, haven't you?
Yeah. What about you, Jamie?
Well, just before we go on to mine, obviously we didn't record last week when the new boosts reset and stuff, but where were you ranked after the first 15 weeks?
Let me just check. After about 240th, so I dropped, and then.
So what would have been your target for when the boost reset for the last phase in 30? Would you have been happy to be in the top 100 then, or a bit higher?
Probably top 100. It's hard because I was so low last year. I'm coming at it from a completely different point of view. I'd like to be top 100 though. I know you guys know my views on the boost with so many doubles. It takes away a bit of the skill of the game for me, but yeah, I'll hopefully get top 100 anyway.
Good. Well, you're nearly there anyway, so hopefully you should get there. Me, on the other hand, my season is just misery. That's all I can say. It's just want it to end already. After the 15th week, I was ranked 495th, and then I dropped to 574th. I've now gone up to 357th by playing Jeepers Keepers. I'm on 98 minus 4. Johansson with 30. And my phone doesn't let me scroll. Wilson on 16. Other than that, Kamara 12, Giles and Pickering with 4 each. Sarr 9, Brownhill vice captain 13. Captain blank with Victor so far 4, and then NDI, Campbell, Brereton, Diaz, and Baker doing absolutely nothing for me. Sam Fields on my bench again. Not third for the first time this season. He is second sub, but I won't be getting him. So I've got to be happy with that score, really, considering I've got the midweek games to go with the goalkeepers and a few other players. My target was always, because I was around 500, was to just try and get in the top 100 for the last set of boosts, and then just I know I'm not going to win the game now, which kind of makes the game rubbish for me. Cause, everyone wants to win the game, but just try finish as high as possible. And try and win that cash league, which I don't think I'm going to do with some of the people that are in there, which I will give updates. I know I haven't given one update on that cash league yet, but that is because I accidentally put the code on Twitter instead of the non-league code. So a few cheeky little buggers have entered that league, so I need to get them kicked out because they haven't paid. Once I've done that, I will start giving updates out. And I don't want to praise Andy Teach Mode either because he's top of that. So the pod team, Angus, how have we gone on in the pod team?
It is hilariously bad.
Oh, is it that? I actually haven't seen it,
So I think after the first 15, we were 181st. Partway through game week 17, we're 408th.
Oh, wow.
We played triple, and we're on 43 minus 4.
How have we done this?
We played the triple on Victor, J. Rodriguez, and Sargent, who on the triple are on 6, 6, and 3.
Wow.
We have Isaiah Jones on 10, Ishmael Assar on 9, Ryan Giles on 4. We have Johansson on 3. We have Njai on 1, Chair on 2, Bree on 0, and Fernandez on -1.
Oh. You've just got laughed at that, haven't you?
So the funniest part is we've got Clark 6 on our bench, Anfield 10 on our bench. So yeah, we've got.
We need a few miracles midweek.
Yeah, I mean, just anything from those strikers at this point. Given that they've combined for 15 points on the triple is just amazing.
Yeah, that is terrible. It's bad when I'm above the pod team now overall. So it's bad. Wow, that's a big drop as well. That is. We do need some points in that. Because we don't want the guys in Gaffr pod to win or the community team. So hopefully our captains pull the fingers out in midweek. Shall we get into some games?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
We should have gone through the pod team first because it's like we ended on the right misery there, didn't we? That was really bad. But we'll get into the games then. So we'll go through the running order of the games as we normally do. And after that, we will go through any questions from Twitter. So I'm coming to you, Dan, first. On the first game, Sheffield United 2, Norwich 2. Obviously, Pookie getting a brace, which is good for the people like yourselves who had him on triple. What are your thoughts from this game for Gaffr?
Yeah, so line-up news for Sheffield United, McBurney and NDI were benched. For Norwich, Giannoulis was finally back at left back. He came on against Luton in midweek. Hayden started, and so did Sargent after going off injured. There was a bit of doubt, but it was only a knock. And as you mentioned, the main news was Pookie scoring double. Also missing a pen late on. But the massive swing of if you had Sargent on triple compared to Pookie, absolutely huge.
I think Joel had that, didn't he? Or he tweeted something about it, didn't he? I saw him tweet something about it on Saturday. It's
crazy that we'll mention about the Burnley one of Brownhill and Rodriguez as well. It's just massive 50-50 swings. As I said, I was surprised when Sheffield United didn't start, especially NDI. I know McBurney is going through a hernia, as Angus said before the pod started. Apparently he's having that during the World Cup break. But yeah, McBurney came on, and so did NDI, and they changed the game and they pulled it back to 2-2. And then I suppose the most important thing we've got to talk about is for Sheffield United in game week 20. My plan is to play follow the leader. I don't know. I think you're two both playing follow the leader as well.
Yeah.
I've currently got 3 Sheffield United, so I'm going to have to play. It makes sense for me to play them. So I've got Ahmed Hodzic, NDI, and McBurney. So they're 3 of my players, and I'm playing them. Any of you thinking of Sheffield United or?
I had 2, so I was set on that, but Norrington Davis got injured, so I'm just left with NDI. I'm now undecided because I can move there. But while we're at this point, just for the listeners, because obviously we haven't podied around this new set of booths, we are going to reference game week 20 a lot because obviously it's the big double. And I'd like to say the majority of players will be playing follow the leader boost. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think follow leader or triple. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'd imagine most are going to play follow the leader. If they are, if you haven't seen that boost yet, what is the easiest way of describing? Angus, you're better at this than me. You know I'm going to muck that up.
I like how you thrown to me with no warning, and I'm just sort of like, So for your captain, it's 2.5 times the captain, and everyone from his team is doubled as well. The vice captain, they score 2 times, and it's 1.5 times everyone from their team. And then the emergency captain and the players from their team score 1.5 times.
That's it. So basically, you need 3 teams, don't you?
Yeah.
And 3 players from each team, just so the other 2 players follow your captain, if that makes sense. So everyone's now kind of prepping and planning towards game week 20 of getting 9 players free from 3 different teams. So that's what Dan's on about here. So Dan, you carry on. So Sheffield United is definitely going to be one of yours, do you think?
Yeah, well, like I said, I've already got 3 of them. It makes sense to just go with it. I suppose that because there's so many teams doubling it, it will make it interesting because people will go for different teams depending on how the team's set up. I know all our teams are set up differently. So yeah, I've got, like I mentioned, NDI, McBurney, and Hamic. Do you think they're the 3 best players from Sheffield United?
They'd be the 3 I'd go to. If I'm going to go Sheffield United, I'd be bringing in McBurney, and I'm quite impressed you can pronounce his name, Dan. I'm not going to try it. The Bosnian centre back. But yeah, I think I'd go there. What about you, Angus?
Well, I'm not going with them, but those are the 3 that I would go with.
And have you got any at the moment?
No.
So right, you're in a good position there then.
So that's 100% you're not going from then.
No.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting because it changes every week. I thought when I first saw this boost, everyone would probably go towards the same 3 teams, but because of the inconsistency now, you see. Well, I know we'll get on to Watford and Luton later, but you're thinking Luton might be a good dead cert for that. Watford probably not with the form, but they can turn up and beat anybody 4-0 in this league on their day. So it's kind of it's going to be interesting to see where people go. But I'd agree with you on Sheffield United in terms of Norwich assets. They obviously haven't got the double in 20. They've got Stoke, QPR, and then Rotherham away in the next 3, like going into 18, 19, and 20. Would you start moving them out now? Prepping?
I think you have to, especially because they're so expensive, especially Pookie. Just frees up funds, and you're going to need 9 players on follow a leader. So Pookie is probably going to be, well, he will definitely be moving in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Anything else to add on this game or anything on either sides?
I guess the interesting detail we should talk about is the penalty itself, in that, at least according to the sort of Sky Sports report, Josh Sargent was going to take it, and then Pookie took it off him. I don't know whether Pookie is supposed to be the taker or whether that was because he was on a hat-trick. but that may well be something to watch out for, particularly given that Pukki missed the penalty. So if you're not moving one of them on, or if you're waiting, that might be something to bear in mind.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard to tell. I think, you want to say he had it because he was on a hat trick, but it's Timo Pukki.
Yeah.
So we literally don't know, do we?
No.
It wasn't
and
like it was
neither of
just
them
some
had taken one this
player who was on a
season
hat trick.
either. So we can't know who should have been.
Anything else before we move on to the next game?
No, not for me.
No.
Okay, then Angus, I'll come to you then for Sunderland 2, Burnley 4. Burnley actually coming back from being behind rather than throwing a lead away. What are your thoughts from this game?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. There were a few sort of interesting lineup notes. Amad Diallo started for Sunderland. And for Burnley, there was the Vitinho starting again, Maatsen not in the squad, and Jay Rodriguez on the bench, which obviously burned a few. There was also
that was a shock.
There's also Josh Brownhill playing deeper as a result of the selection changes. But I think the main things were sort of Rodriguez being on the bench, and people were sort of up in the air about whether Maatsen would be back for this one. Company was non-committal, but him not even being in the squad will be a little bit of a concern for owners heading into midweek. But obviously, like you say, they went behind to 2 goals, one from Amad and one from Dan Neil. And then the second half, they just completely turned things around. Manuel Benson came on at halftime and made a big difference. He came on for Ashley Barnes, and it seemed to have an immediate difference. They put Nathan Teller up front, and it made a massive difference to them. Teller got the first goal. Benson scored a cross, and then Zaruri and Brownhill scored. And I think for those who were on the Burnley assets, obviously the likes of Teller and Brownhill both returning, it's good for people. The half clean sheet, I guess, if you had Vitinho or Roberts, Harwood Bellis, a half clean sheet and an assist in this game. So I think in general, outside of Jay Rodriguez and Ian Maatsen, who we've mentioned, in terms of the assets with ownership, owners are probably coming away from that game pretty happy, really, because they've all got some form of return.
Yeah, I think the Jay Rodriguez benching would be quite annoying if you were on him, especially if you were on like a triple. The Maatsen Vitinho thing, I kind of got annoyed with that quite a while ago. I don't feel like you can call it. What was Maatsen injured for this one, or?
Yeah, he didn't even make it back into the squad after missing out in midweek through injury.
But when he's fit, you haven't got a clue, have you? Because when you think you know who's favoured, the other one will play. And then we've even seen Connor Roberts get dropped for one game as well, haven't we? So that's quite annoying. What is quite interesting regarding Burnley is they haven't got the double and 20. So you won't be looking for them on follow the leader. But if you're on them assets now, they do have Reading and Rotherham in the next 2, which are pretty good fixtures. So what would be your advice on people who own Burnley assets?
It's tough because it depends how you're getting to your follow the leader, most likely in 20, because obviously the fact they don't double. It depends whether you need those slots. For example, for me, I'm probably going to be able to hold one of the Burnley guys through in terms of the way I'm looking to set up. So it may well be that I just look to leave Josh Brownhill there. Because I'm only on 2 of them. I'm on Brownhill and Teller. And I'll probably look to move Teller on for my follow the leader. I think if you're on Rodriguez and probably one of the defenders, you'll probably be looking to move them on by 20.
Would they be ones? It's a bit difficult with Rodriguez because his price, and maybe even Maatsen because they were classed as premiums. you might need the funds to move them earlier, but you try to delay it as much as possible with them 2 fixtures, wouldn't you? Like leave them to the end. I'm going to keep Brownhill, and I'm probably going to end up keeping him in my team for 20 and just bench him just because of his value. I think he's a really good price. I can afford for him to just sit on my bench for a week, and he keeps ticking over nicely. So I think that's what I'll be doing there. Sunderland, anything to add on Sunderland? I imagine Sims and Stewart are going to be back fairly soon.
Sims, I think, is due to start training this week. Stewart might be slightly longer, but Sims should at least be back soon.
That'll be interesting when they come in. They obviously haven't got a double in 20 either, so I don't think we need to focus too much time on Sunderland, do we?
No.
This is the game I've been looking forward to. Watford 4, Luton Town 0. Dan, talk us through this, please.
God's sake. Convenient you weren't on the pod when it was 4-0 to Watford against Stoke.
I'm not daft enough to come on the pod after we get drummed 4-0 by Watford.
God's sake. At least we're still above them. So Watford, a lot of their key players came back in. Pedro started, Gaffr, Kbembe started because Loser got a serious injury. For Luton, the main news was Lansbury and Potts missed out through injury. Freeman and Doughty started. Doughty played left wing back, so Bell played left of the back three. That's basically it. That's it, really. No, seriously. It was a fair result. Just Luton were poor from the start. Just conceded at the wrong time of the game. So we conceded early to a good finish from Keenan Davis, who just completely destroyed us pretty much the whole game. We then got back into the game, and it was pretty even for the rest of the first half. We both had chances, but they scored on half time, and then with 2-0 at half time, and we're not getting back from that. And then we gave them the third and the fourth goal, and then Osho got sent off stupidly. So that's basically it. But we've played bad twice this season and lost fair to Bristol City and Watford. Apart from that, we've lost 2 in 12. So I don't think it's anything to panic if you're on a Bree or a Morris or anything like that. And obviously, we're all here to talk about Watford and the assets in 20, because we've seen them not turn up for games, but when they do win, they win comfortably. So they've got massive upsides. So I currently don't have any Watford, but within the next week, I've got to decide if I'm going for Watford as one of my teams, and if so, I've got to start bringing them in.
Yeah, because I feel like with Watford, obviously, I can't stand them for fantasy football. Like I jumped on them for away days, maybe game week 10, 11, I think it was, or something like that. And all they've done is let me down. I'm on Kamara and Sarr at the moment. I did have João Pedro, then sold when he got injured. But they're incredibly frustrating. And I know I can't guarantee it, but they're going to let everybody down in game week 20 because everyone got such high hopes for them, and then they just won't show up. Or it'll go the other way, and then they'll just absolutely haul for you. Like today, I've got Kamara and Sarr, so I've had a good day from it. But over the last few weeks, they've let me down, so it's quite frustrating. How many are you on, Angus?
I'm on 2.
As in Sarr and Kamara?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I benched Kamara this week, which is inconvenient, but those are the 2 I'm on.
So are Watford in your plans for 20?
Yeah.
We've already been on 2, yeah. I think you're kind of, in a way, forced to go there. A lot of people just because how explosive they can be.
I'm on 0 and I'm thinking about it.
Okay, so it's easy for me and Angus then because we're on the same 2. I'll ask Angus first. Who is likely to be your third asset, Angus? Would it be João Pedro or Davis?
Obviously, Davis went off with an injury today, so it depends what the situation is with that. I was sort of between Sema, Pedro, or Davis. Particularly if Davis is out, I'll probably go to Joao Pedro.
And would they be the three that you'd be going for, Dan? Kamara, Sarr, and one of them, or
Definitely Kamara and Sarr. The third one is interesting. From what the game I saw today, I picked Davis, but he did go off with look like a muscle injury. You'd have to think Joao Pedro definitely plays though, and probably Sema. It's just, do they move Joao Pedro up front and play a Sprilla behind, or do they play Bayo up front and play Joao Pedro in the 10? I'm not sure what he'll do.
I think I'll be going Joao Pedro, but we mentioned it briefly on the Spaces on Thursday. It was obviously before this game. I think I'm going to wait until game week 20 before I bring in the third asset. So, I think, just to be safe, just who's playing.
Yeah. For me, I'm going to try and bring probably Sarr and Kamara over the next two, and like you said, the third one will be either probably Davis or Pedro.
Okay, and obviously we spoke about Watford there, but I know Luton have been, took a beating today, but they have been good, and they do have a double in 20. They've got Sunderland at home and Reading away in the next two, and then their double is Blackpool and Stoke away. Thursday, you were keen on Luton. They've been solid for us in Gaffr this season. If you are going to have Luton as one of your teams, who would you be looking at, Dan? I'm going to ask you, because obviously you're the Luton fan.
Yeah, obviously Bree. I'd probably lean Morris, but he's got this fourth yellow card looming over him. I'm not. He's on
19.
Yeah, well, the reset though is pretty soon, I think. I'm not entirely sure of the game week.
Would it not be halfway? I don't actually know when it is, but I'd just imagine it would be 23 week.
I thought it was a bit early.
I'm just guessing.
The yellow card reset.
Yeah.
It's after their 19th game.
So if he gets booked in 19th, he's suspended for 19, one of the games.
Game week 19 will be everyone's 18th game. So. So it could happen. It could even happen in the middle of 20 if he doesn't get booked before then.
Right. And the thing with Morris is a lot of his is for like talking.
Yeah.
He gets frustrated, so he could just lose it and he'll just get booked. Like, I thought he was going to get it numerous times today. Those would be the two, and then I know, Angus, you've got Potts because you were thinking maybe Budget Buster on your overhaul. I think that's probably a decent option. We have looked, apart from today, we've looked pretty decent at the back. He should be nailed. Like I said, he was out through illness. The other one is maybe Adebayo, but you've still got Cornick and Jerome loitering around. Maybe you could go Campbell, who'll play, but I'm just not sure if they're the best options. Like, I think you can get two, and it's like, who do you go for the third?
So, have you just got Bree at the moment, or have you got Morris as well?
I've only got Bree.
And I think the majority of the listeners are probably going to be on Bree, possibly in Morris. But if they're just on one, so what would be your advice to them? Get Luton, or
I probably wouldn't go Luton now. I think there's too many question marks. Morris, for example, you don't want to bring Morris in to then have to take him out. You could maybe go Adebayo. I don't know. I think there's too many question marks.
And I think if you don't go them, obviously you can still have Bree in your team for a double, so you still get the points normal, wouldn't you? So it's not like you've got to sell Bree now. You could keep him in as like your 10 for 11 player. Angus, any thoughts on Watford or Luton that hasn't covered?
the other thing to mention, I guess, with Watford's double, they seem to be significantly better at home. Both games in their game week 20 double are at home.
Are either game on Sky? That's important as well.
I don't know.
Apparently they
They
only
tend to
show
do
up
well
on
on Sky, don't they?
Yeah.
As we both know, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay, then we'll move on to the next game then. I'll come to you, Angus. Rotherham 2, Hull 4. Your thoughts on these two sides?
So I guess the main story to talk about from this one is Victor Johansson on Jeepers Keepers. So after his haul of saves against Stoke in midweek, thank you to Liam Delap in particular for repeatedly kicking the ball at Victor Johansson. He's got, I think it's 30 points for those on Jeepers Keepers in this one game, despite the fact they conceded 4. So that sort of says it all, really. The other sort of, I guess, happy people from this game are the people, particularly on triple, but just generally, with Barlasser in their team, who's obviously netted a goal. Although the happiest people when it comes to Rotherham might be some of the people getting their bench points in because they've still got Ogbene.
Yes, I've seen that today.
Seen a Jerry Yates coming in.
Corf
Yeah.
has got Jerry Yates coming in. That's disgusting.
That's disgusting. That is disgusting, Angus. Yeah, that is horrible. Oh, I'd love it if that was me.
But yeah, I mean, I think Rotherham have been struggling a little bit in terms of allowing chances, and it just came to a head in this game in a way that Stoke couldn't put their chances away in midweek. Hull put a bunch of them away in this game, and the concern for Rotherham would be Victor Johansson has been good this season, but he's had to be.
Yeah, I thought they were very poor. We have a thing at work where we all choose one team to put an accumulator, so we all pay £1 a week, and we end up putting a £5 on. And I chose Hull this week, not because I think Hull are a good side. It's just after watching Rotherham. I know they beat us in midweek, so it sounds stupid of me to say, but they were terrible. They were really, really bad. So yeah, I understand that. But again, Rotherham in the league, they seem to get a lot of doubles, don't they, when they play in the Championship? They've obviously had this double in 17. They are doubling again in 20, so they were popular for... I thought they were only going to be popular for people like myself who were playing Jeepers Keepers. But like yourself, you've had one. Ogbene would have been popular if he was fit on the triple. What are your thoughts on the Rotherham assets going into 20? I imagine... you're not going to be using them for follow the leader with Norwich and Sheffield United as the double. But they do have a double, so would you sell them assets or would you keep them in?
I mean, depending on what I need, whether I need the slots, a lot of them are at the price where I can just leave them on the bench. They can be my bench sort of thing. They're not necessarily a sort of massive priority for me to get rid unless I need the slots they're occupying. So they may well end up sort of forming my bench in 20.
Yeah, Dan, are you the same there?
Yeah, I'd probably just get rid. I actually think Rotherham are going to go down now. They've played too many games at home, and 5 of their next 6 are away. So I'm starting to get worried about Rotherham. I would say with Hull, I was a bit more impressed. They've sort of changed their team the last few games, and they've brought more of a core that were playing last year back into the team. In Greg Dougherty, and then they've brought Longmans up front. They've sort of just got rid of a couple of their superstars and started playing some of the players who were there last year, and it seems to be working. They're not getting played through as much, but both are now a massive avoid. obviously we'll get into whether we think Jeepers Keepers or triple will work out this week or long term, because Rotherham he could get another 30 points in the next game, to be honest.
Yeah, they're away at Cardiff. Sorry,
Coventry,
I'm skipping. Yeah, I'm skipping them. I'm skipping the game. I'm going straight to game week 18 there. So speak about Rotherham. Angus Hull, they do have a double in 20. They've got Millwall away and Cardiff away in that. They've got Blackburn and Middlesbrough both at home in the next 2 game weeks. Any Hull players on your radar?
No.
That's just, I knew you'd be straight and blunt. Absolutely no. I thought I'd ask a question so I don't anger any Hull fans that may listen. But yeah, I think it's pretty simple, and so we're not going to target them for follow the leader. Before we get on to the next game, we're going to take a break. The reason for that break is we still haven't paid for the pro version of Google Meet, so it's kicking us off in 8 minutes. So you won't even know about this, though, because we'll just cut it. So we'll see you very soon. And we're back. Right. I didn't need to say that because you had to out anyway. Right. The next game is then Blackburn 4, Preston 2. I'm only laughing because we're trying to figure. Well, I'm trying to figure out how we do this editing when it was pretty simple. So please ignore me, listeners. Dan, Blackpool 4, Preston 2. Your thoughts on this Lancashire derby?
So Marv came back in after suspension. CJ Hamilton was in the front three. Main news for Preston, Brady was on the bench again. That's 2 games in a row, so it's looking like a sell. The only thing to talk about here is Jerry Yates, isn't it? He got 6 goals in 4 games, or 3 or 4 games. So someone I've never even thought about, really. But you have to start when he's on that sort of form. Whether it's going to be someone like Stupinan at the start of the season, I probably won't go there. But I know a few people have, and they're getting rewarded for it.
Do you think it's too late for people to go on now, because they do double in 20? You're not going to use him and follow the leader, obviously. But they've got Coventry and West Brom away in the next 2, and then they've got Luton and Middlesbrough at home in that double. It's not really attractive, is it, if you're going to bring him in now?
No, I wouldn't be bringing him in. Especially
if I'd got him, though, I'd keep him. I'd probably keep him, because you could just bench him, can't you? Unless you need that. You probably need that spot, don't you, to be fair?
You'll need him. You'll need that spot for follow the leader or triple, probably. I just think we've missed the points now.
Yeah, I could have done with some points, so I probably should have gone on there a few weeks ago. But we've mentioned Blackpool's fixtures there. It's probably the same. If you're not going to bring Yates, and you're not going to bring anybody in, are you?
No, I don't think so.
No, okay. This might be short and sweet, actually, because Preston, they don't double in 20. Now, you just mentioned it's probably sell time for Brady. It's probably the perfect opportunity now, isn't it, to set up for follow the leader?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Because I've still got him. But
yes, I know.
I was planning on selling anyway, so I actually benched him this week, so he will go. I just didn't want to take another hit. Angus, have you got any additional thoughts for this? Any of these 2 teams?
I have Reese. He's another one to shift now.
Pretty straightforward. I can't imagine the Blackpool fans will be too happy with it. You know, it's probably their biggest game of the season. They've had a great result, so congratulations to all the Blackpool fans.
Jerry Yates is great.
Yeah, fantastic. Gaffr-wise, there's nothing to talk about there, is there, with the upcoming double coming?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, then. So, Angus, I'll come to you then. And it is QPR 2, Wigan 1. Your thoughts on these 2 sides?
Yes, obviously, QPR. I think they were unchanged. But yeah, they're just sort of going along very nicely at the moment. Top of the league. Managers stayed with them. They've got another win here. One of the rare games where Chair has blanked. He hasn't even gotten in the bonus. The one conceded goal was a little bit annoying, but they've got another win on the board, and people who've got field who've bizarrely played him or are getting him off the bench, credit to you.
Scumbags.
His first goal in, I think they said 20 months. Only I think the second goal of his career or something. So yeah, congrats.
Wow. It was a nice 10-pointer as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he's sitting nicely second on my bench. It's quite annoying. But QPR, though, obviously, it's a good win for them. The top of the league, like you say, they're doubling in 20, so their upcoming fixtures are Birmingham away, Norwich away, and then their double is West Brom and Huddersfield at home. They've got beating contention for follow the leader, surely.
Yeah, definitely.
And for those who didn't make the spaces on Thursday, we did briefly discuss the options who you could consider. Who would you be looking at considering, Angus, if you were going to go for QPR?
Chair, I think, is the obvious one. Like, there's no point in playing it on QPR if you don't have Chair. And then I think you're probably picking two of Laird, Powell, and Dykes.
Yeah, I completely agree. Dan, do you agree, or is there anyone else on your radar?
I don't know. Maybe Hansen, but I'm not sure he plays the double. He's on the set pieces, which I think a lot of people think Chair is, but Hansen's on the corners.
See, I don't think I'm going QPR. I did want to at some point, but I haven't got Chair, so it just means bringing in 3. So when I've already got 2 Watford and stuff like that, it's not really ideal for me. So I'm going to avoid it. Are you considering them at least?
Yeah,
I'm considering.
Yeah, you are. And are you both on just Chair at the moment then?
I bought Powell this week, so I'm on the double now.
So you're near enough set to go.
Yeah.
You're nearly there, aren't you? Okay, that's interesting. Wigan, on the other hand, they do have a double in 20. They've got Watford and Stoke at home in the next 2. Stoke? Oh, of course they have. I was wondering then. I'm actually going as well. I've got my ticket for that. It's a midweek game. And then they've got Swansea and Coventry away in the double. I've recently just come off Keane. I've had him for quite a while, to be fair, and he's ticks over pretty nicely. But they're not in great form, are they, Wigan? Let's be honest. So are we going to just avoid them?
I think so. I mean, if you can work your follow the leader and you don't need to replace Keane, he's not the worst player to have in a double, but I wouldn't be sort of planning around holding him either.
Yeah, and if you haven't got, you're definitely going to bring him in, are you?
No.
No, it's nice and quick. Then we'll move away from Wigan, and we'll go to the next game. Then Dan, I'll come to you. Millwall 2, West Brom 1. I was quite surprised when I saw this scoreline, actually. So I'll let you talk about it.
So Malone's back in favour. He played left back. Murray Wallace is injured. Saville and Bennett were out of the side for Styles and Shackleton. West Brom made loads of changes, 4 or 5. They're just trying to find the right setup until the new manager comes in. That's now 4 wins in a row for Millwall. They don't double though, which is, I think they double in 21 in that weird game with Sunderland. So I think we will end up on them just because they're the only team that double in 21, but it'll probably be after the 20. And West Brom are just a massive wait and see until they get a manager in.
Yeah, I just don't see how you could go anywhere near West Brom, really. I know some people out there still probably maybe got like a Jed Wallace or a Swift, which, you've got to return there. Actually, did it go down as their own goal?
I think it went
No.
down as a Swift goal.
It went down as it's an assist and a goal there then from them too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be going there. Millwall is really interesting and quite annoying, if I'm honest, because I hadn't quite realised, probably because I'm ignorant towards Millwall. Sorry, Donny. The form that they're in, really good form. They're up to 5th now in the table, I think, and the upcoming fixtures are really good. They're away at Huddersfield, away at Birmingham, at home to Hull in 20, and then they've got the Preston and Sunderland double in 21. So the fixtures are really good for a team that's in form, which is quite frustrating, isn't it, considering we're all planning for follow the leader.
Yeah, it's just annoying that because the way the games have fallen, you just can't go there at the minute.
But can we though? Because I know you two were having a conversation in our chat. It was either today or yesterday. I don't know what it was. And Dan, you mentioned something about a double, and Angus, you said, "Is this because we overthink of these doubles? We think it's vital just because they've got 2 games." An informed Millwall player could easily outscore someone in the doubles, couldn't they?
They could do, but it's boring, isn't it? You want a team that plays twice, really. For example, I never went massively in for the last double with Wigan, and that. I only got the main play. I only had 4 doublers.
Yeah, I didn't go big in it, to be fair.
Yeah, but there's just so many teams. We're going to play them. You're either going to play one of the big boosts. You need a lot of doublers in that game week. It's a shame because Fleming's an option, Malone's back in, Long the goalie at 4.9 for a Millwall side, but you just can't go there. But in 21, we'll probably have 2 or 3 of them.
And it depends what people are using. They could use one in 21. Those who haven't used Jeepers Keepers could come in there, triple. So I'm going to be looking at Millwall very closely over the next few game weeks. Looking ahead to that game week 21. Angus, I'll come to you then for the South Wales derby. Swansea 2, Cardiff. No, that was today. I haven't seen any of this either. I was watching the cricket earlier on, so I'll leave this one to you.
So we start with the lying bastard that is Russell Martin, who said that...
Right, you just swore. I've done my best to not swear. You've just made this podcast explicit. Thank you very much, Angus. So do not moan at me.
No, I wouldn't moan at you anyway. I think more people moan that you don't swear than that I did.
Yeah, I think I should address that before you carry on. It's not you or Dan or me. We're now the official podcast of Gaffr, so I feel that was a great honour for us to be able to do that. So I said, well, they kind of encouraged me to not swear as much. So, Sean, Joe, I have done my best. I can't promise anything going forward because the people want it. Okay? Carry on, Angus.
So to emphasise the lying bastard that is Russell Martin, who said that one of Ryan Manning or Jamie Patterson would be back in the squad for this game, and neither were. So he said, one will be back, but I won't say which. Neither were back. So that was great.
What is the point in that? There's just no need to be that guy, is there?
I don't understand.
What has he gained from that, apart from just pissing you off?
I think that's why he's done it.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
I'm slightly confused as well in that Cardiff went to the effort of getting Jack Simpson's red card overturned and then left him on the bench for this game. So it was all a bit weird in this game. And then the game started. And Callum Robinson, one of the best red cards I've seen in a long time.
It's not a red card.
It is a
I
red
haven't
card.
seen it yet.
It's not a red card. He's just thrown the ball in someone's face. It's not a red card.
You can't do that. It's
You
bang
can't
out of
do
order.
that. You can't just turn around and
That's
throw the
assault,
ball in
Dan.
someone's face.
You should move out of the way.
That's
No,
like
the
me
problem
going
was
to
he
work and
couldn't
throwing a
because it was
tile at
point
someone's
blank.
face and not getting arrested.
It's harsh. It's a derby. It's the first 10 minutes. You ruin the game. Just book
Counter
him.
argument. You can say it's harsh or whatever. Counter argument. It's so stupid. It deserves to be a red card because, like, of all the things, like especially because he stopped, it's after the play, and then he turns around and he's had time to calm down from whatever it was, and then he turns around and throws the ball right in Ben Cabango's face. So stupid that it's just like, and you've gained nothing. You've thrown the ball in his face. You haven't even done damage to him. If you're gonna go after him, at least like kick him or headbutt him or something. Like
Exactly. Do a Nunez and actually get sent off for doing something.
at least get your money's worth if you're going to
Angus,
get
you're
sent
very
off.
passionate about this. You're very passionate about this.
I think it's harsh. I've obviously played too much Sunday League.
Again, like to me, the biggest thing is it's just he deserves to be sent off for the stupidity of it.
It's stupid,
yeah. And you know, the Swansea won the game after this. A couple of goals. Cooper got the first one, and then Obafemi after a really good pass from Grimes. The other thing to point out, not the best refereed game. Cedric Kipre got away with punching the ball away in his own area. So that should have been a penalty. And I think there should have been another penalty as well. I can't remember. But yeah, not the best officiated game. We're clearly not going to agree on the red card, but I think we can all agree that Cedric Kipre punching the ball should have been a penalty. And I'm not sure how the referee hasn't given that, given how blatant it was. But yeah.
At least he gave Obafemi a yellow card. That's the main thing in this match.
Yes. It's obviously a big win for Swansea. They're up to 4th in the table now. And Cardiff struggling a little bit.
7.
Last few, they're down to 20th.
Well, Angus, I'm just going to let you calm down and relax just for a second, because it's a good segue for Dan to tell us about his bet that he had today. Go on, Dan.
So I had a goal score and booking double. So I had Obafemi to get scored and booked, and Keenan Davis to score and book, £5, 1,700. Lovely job.
1,700 quid off a £5, and he didn't share that in the group before. He used to share them all the time, and then now you don't. And then, I've won 1,700 quid. Just let me put that in the group. You horrible man. Angus, are you okay now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, let me talk to you about Cardiff and Swansea then. They've both got a double in 20. Cardiff have got Rotherham and Watford in the next 2, and then they double as Sunderland away and Hull at home. You've obviously just mentioned they're not in good form. They're down to 20th. Safe to say, avoid.
Yeah, I think one of the only ones that people might have convinced themselves to go with was Callum Robinson, and he's now out for 3 games. So
that's that one then. Swansea, on the other hand, I know we did briefly discuss them on Thursday. They've got Bristol City and Preston away in the next 2, and then Wigan at home and Birmingham away in the double in 20. Do they tickle your fancy?
Well, I included Ryan Manning on my Game Week 15 overhaul, thinking he'd be a good pick. He proceeded to get injured, and now I don't he may or may not come back at some point. The way Russell Martin is talking, so. But yeah, I think there are options there. Obviously, a few people will have been on Pirro, who then got himself sent off.
Yeah. He'll be back for 20 though, won't he?
He'll be back by 20, yeah. But I think
the problem is,
yeah, go on, Dan.
Sorry, Angus. the problem is they've sort of been rotating behind the main striker. So I think a lot of people would have gone maybe like Piero because he was playing and Manning. But it's that thing again, like who do you pick for your third option?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the
Don't know if
problem.
you...
I mean, I guess you could go with Latibodia, who's going to play most of the games at right wing back again. Obafemi is probably going to play even when Piero comes back. And I mean, you mentioned Campbell when we were talking about Luton. You could probably make a similar argument about Matt Grimes as well.
Yeah.
Don't think Swansea for me. I'm not saying people shouldn't get a
6
Swansea
wins
assets.
out of 7, though.
I know it's not that I think they're bad or anything like
Yeah.
that. It's just like I don't know who I'd pick,
Yeah.
and the fact I've got to get 3 of them, I just don't think I could do that. Next game, oh Jesus, Stoke now Coventry 2. Who are we on at the moment?
You're talking about this one after I've had to talk about Luton.
Well, God, where do I start with Stoke at the moment? For this one, I took my little girl who's 4 years old. This was her first ever league game. I have took her to a cup game last year and a pre-season game up in Accrington, and she was okay. This one, for a full, well, I'll say full crowd. It's full where I sit, and 20 minutes in, I need to go to the toilet. So yeah, of course you do. Yeah, I want a hot dog. All this. So it was quite hard to concentrate on the game. It was quite annoying. But Stoke again, first half, we were good, but we didn't look like scoring again. Exactly the same as how it was at Rotherham. I know we weren't peppering them like we were at Rotherham, but we were controlling the game. We were looking good. Second half, we just dropped a gear and it's on the counter. You've seen the goals. Allen's goal, Freddie's through from Aimer. Good pass, good finish. Aimer, brilliant footwork in the box, but he shouldn't have been allowed to get there. And then a good finish. So take nothing away from Coventry. They deserve to win. But from a Stoke point of view, idiots like myself are on double Stoke and have chosen Stoke as
You're
one
the
of
only person on double Stoke.
I will be, yeah, and I will be the only person on triple Stoke come game with 20. So yeah, nothing to talk about Stoke-wise, really. I'm not going to recommend anyone. I think it's daft. Coventry, obviously people are on them now. People will be on Wilson for cheapest keepers. They'd have brought in Victor if they already had him for triple. Victor, he wasn't that impressive, if I'm honest with you. He wasn't that good.
He tore Luton apart when we played him over the end of the season.
Yeah, he had. I think I remember him. He didn't go through on goal, but he took the ball not past the defenders, but to the defenders like twice. Not Hamer was the best player. Casey Palmer was okay, but you never know if he's going to be fit or not. Dabo played decent at right wing back, but they were just how would I describe them? Very well structured, let's say. Defensively, they were decent, and then they played to their strengths on the counter attack. So it would be interesting to see how they do in midweek, because they do have the double and 20 as well, don't they? Which, if I'm just getting them up now, obviously because of the games getting called off at the beginning of the season, they do have quite a few doubles. They've got Blackpool at home and Blackburn at home, and then the doubles Watford away, Wigan at home. So what would be your advice on Coventry assets? Because a lot of people probably have 1 or 2 now at the moment, aren't they?
I'm going to be moving off of them. I'll probably pay Wilson. He'll probably be my goalie that week.
Same here.
But I think I'll move off Victor. I just don't think it's going to be good enough. I think there's better teams for the triple. I'm just not sure the third option.
No, exactly. Hamer, obviously, Callum come off the bench to a standing ovation from the Coventry fans, which was really impressive. But Hamer looks really good. But with him, there's a booking in there somewhere. He's like a little pit bull. It reminds me of Gary Medal. Remember when he was at Cardiff, the Chilean? It reminds me of him. He's just there at your ankles all game. So
if he gets sent off again, it might be a 5-game ban.
I think Dabo played well at right wing back if you were looking at defensive, but it's one of them. He doesn't excite you, if that makes sense. So I wouldn't get that. I think I'd happily keep what his price, so I'd need to sell to take that spot. But their double then is they double in 23 with Swansea at home and West Brom at home. So I'll end up just selling him and bringing him back ready for that double in 23, I think. Anything else you two would like to add to Stoke or Coventry?
No.
Okay. I don't know who I'm coming to here now. Who am I coming to?
I have no idea.
I think it's me.
It's you, it is you, yeah. Right, sorry, listeners. Reading 2, Bristol City 0, Angus.
Yeah, I mean, Reading probably sort of needed this win. It had been a bit tougher for them recently, and obviously this got them sort of back to winning ways. You obviously had Loom open the scoring, and the sort of old strikers combined for the second one with Long setting up Carroll. Doesn't feel like there's a great deal to sort of say with these. I mean, if you still have someone like Lumley, that's fine. There's probably better keepers, but at the same time they do double in 20, so that is a doubling keeper. Bristol City, if you're still on, get rid.
Yeah, and you don't have a double either, so you need to get rid of the Bristol City assets if you've got them, don't you?
Yeah.
Reading's, though, fixtures, Burnley away, Luton away in the next 2, and then a double is Preston at home, Watford away. You're not going to use them for follow the leader, are you?
No,
you're probably not going to use them if you're on triple. So it's kind of like not in a negative way, but just ignore them for now, isn't it, until 20 passes, and then maybe have a look. So we won't spend any more time talking about them unless, Dan, you've got anything to add to it.
No.
Right. Last 2 games then. Blackburn 2, Birmingham 1. Dan, your thoughts on these 2?
Yeah, so line up Blackburn, Pickering and Wharton came back in for Brum. Bakuna started, Deeney was benched. Just another win at home for Blackburn. Gallagher 3 goals in 3 games. Is he an option? And then I don't think they double though, so
no,
probably not. And then Birmingham, they do double in 20, but they're doing all right. They're doing better than I thought they would this season, but they're just not really any options there with the current boosts, I don't think.
No, it's a shame with Blackburn that they don't double, so you're going to know that. So Brighton Diaz, a lot of people may be on him. So he's likely to be leaving people's teams now. I still got Pickering, so I've got to get rid of Pickering and Brighton Diaz. My only issue with it, though, is the timing, because they've got Hull away, so I'm probably likely to keep him for that in 18, and then probably sell ahead of 19, where they've got Coventry away. But Birmingham, they're another team similar to Reading. They're not bad or anything at the moment, but you're not going to want 3 of their assets for follow the leader, and you're definitely not going to use one of them for triple, are you?
No.
So that's the theme of this podcast at the moment, is because we're all prepping for 20. It kind of eliminates a lot of teams, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Are you happy for us to move on then to the last game?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, Middlesbrough 0, Huddersfield 0, Angus. Your thoughts?
I mean, there's not a great deal on this, is there? It looked like, I mean, I guess one of the main things to say is for the second game in a row, Middlesbrough lined up in a 4-3-3. with the most interesting part being that Isaiah Jones has played as the right winger in those 2 games. Now, obviously, we were talking last season when he started playing right wing back that he had come through as a winger. So that's potentially interesting with him, and this might be, with us thinking that Michael Carrick is about to take the job, this might be in preparation for what he wants to do. It looked like they maybe should have had a penalty, but apart from that, there wasn't really a lot to speak of from this game.
Okay, I'll start with Huddersfield then, because no disrespect to them, but they are shit. They have got a double. They've got Millwall at home, Sunderland at home, and then Blackburn away and QPR away in the double. You're not going to go there, are you, with anyone at all? So let's just bypass them. Middlesbrough are interesting because they're not the Middlesbrough we expected at the beginning of the season, but the fixtures, Preston away and Hull away, and Bristol City at home and Blackpool away, they are great fixtures. And if I said they had them fixtures for this boost in pre-season, you'd have been licking your lips at that, wouldn't you? Yeah. Ready. Triple Middlesbrough. But can we go there for follow the leader or triple?
It's tough. I think it's probably easier on triple in that you can put Isaiah Jones in there, and in particular, I would say, particularly with it looks like he's going to play on the wing in this system. So he in particular would be good for that. For follow the leader, you probably can, but it's a little bit tougher because while this change of system is potentially better for Jones, it is looking to be worse for Giles. So that's the trade-off.
And obviously I've got Giles and not Jones.
So it'd be a bit tougher, but I think they're not the worst option, particularly with those fixtures for follow the leader. You just have to find sort of where your third option would come from, because I think you could still go with those 2. It's just then where you find your third option from.
Especially as some people still do have both of them, and if you've got both of them, I would be going.
I would, if I had both, I'd 100% have Middlesbrough as one of my teams. I could do, because obviously now with Isaiah Jones, he's really appealing, especially playing right wing, to bring him in. But if we're going to go for a third asset, who is it going to be?
Crooks. Get him in.
Matt Crooks.
Yeah.
Did you say that? Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's served his suspension this weekend for his 5th booking, so that's out the way.
What about Watmore? Would you consider this?
No.
I'm just asking. I wouldn't go there myself, but from the highlights over the last 2 weeks, let's say lively. That's probably the best.
Watmore does this, doesn't he? He has games where he don't, and then he'll get 2 in a game or 4 in 3, and you're like, where did that come from?
Yeah, but let's talk about the fact that Duncan Watmore is one of the most frustrating players to watch in the Championship when you have no interest in him doing well. Now imagine you had to watch him when he was in your Gaffr team.
Yeah, no.
How many open goals did he miss for you early in the season, Angus, when you had Giles?
God. At least 3. From with Giles putting it on a plate for him.
See, I might just wait one more week because I'm in a position now with my follow leader where I've got double Watford and double Stoke. God, it kills me saying that. So I need to bring in one more each time. That's 2 transfers and 18. I really need to make my moves for that 3rd team. And really, I've got to decide this week so I can start them. But Middlesbrough, they're going to do my head in. I want to take that gamble on them. I just don't know if I can. I just really don't know if I can. But it'll be interesting. Anything else to add, guys?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Well, no? Okay, right. Let me get the Twitter questions up then. There they are. No particular order. I'll go through them as I see them. I'll go to each one of you in turn, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Angus, as I looked up, I saw you. So Angus, FPLB has asked, is it essential to use follow the leader on players who will double? I assume most will do so. If you don't, you could actually lose ground over the period of boosts. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so while I always say nothing is essential, I do think if you're using it on players that aren't doubling, you're not using probably the best boost to its full potential, which I think would be a mistake. So I think personally for me, I'd want to make sure that I was using it on 9 players, so making sure I had the full 3 triple ups, and ideally speaking that they were all doubling as well.
Okay. Dan, Billy Hadaway has asked 2 questions. I'll ask you the first. Preference for triple in 21 with Millwall and Sunderland, or 23 with West Brom and Coventry? 21 would require a -8 to bring in Fleming, Cooper and Clark, whereas probably could do 23 without hits.
I'd probably do 23 without the hits.
Yeah, the -8.
What's your plan, Jamie? Because obviously me and Angus played triple this week. You're probably in a similar situation with Billy.
Yeah, because obviously I've used my Jeepers Keepers this week. I've got to find a week which suits my team the best, use triple, and I'm just on the fixtures at the moment. Obviously, you got that double in 21 with Millwall and Sunderland, and then who is it in 23? West Brom and Coventry both double. If I'm honest, 23 is more appealing to me. I know what I've just said about Millwall, though, is interesting, so I'm going to keep an eye on that. But it's just West Brom, it just depends how they look.
Also, you got that crazy gap between the 2 fixtures for in that double.
Of course, yes.
Millwall and Sunderland.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I generally don't know. I haven't made a plan for it. I'm just going to assess it. I'm try and get through 20. Once I'm out of that, look at if Millwall are still in great form, I'd likely go to 21. But then, I'm going to have to take hits to do that because I'm not going to have any. I'm not going to roll before 20, so I'll have to take hits to maximise it. So yeah. So you'd say 23, so you don't take the hits, Dan.
Yeah, I wouldn't take the hit.
And his next question, Angus, is another cheeky one: Pedro and Laird or Dykes and Kamara / Cathcart for game week 20. Follow the leader.
Jesus.
So he's definitely going QPR and Watford.
Yeah.
By the looks of it, he's just which way is he going to do it?
Everyone knows I love Big Linden, but I think I'd probably give the edge there to Pedro and Laird.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. On that one. It's just when he's got to go for it. Well, but Pedro started today, so that's a positive sign, isn't it? Because I wanted to have a look to see when he'd get straight back in the team. So yeah, I'd agree with that, Angus. Dan Andy FPL mode has asked, in your opinion, when and how would you use follow the leader? Which 3 teams and triple ups would you target? So this has been the theme of the podcast, really, hasn't it? It's definitely 20. Yeah. But just to answer his question, because he's been kind enough to ask it, I'll ask you both actually. What 3 teams do you think are the best? Not necessarily who you're going to go for, because it depends on the structure of your team, but who are the 3 best teams to target for it?
I think I would probably definitely go Watford and QPR. And then I think it is team dependent. For me, I'm going to take Sheffield United. I think Luton are an option. Swansea, Borough, Coventry. I don't think there's a set answer. I think it's more team specific when you get to the third one, I think. I don't know what you think, Angus.
Yeah, similar.
Okay, nice and easy. Angus, I'll come to you. Chris Imity just asked, which 3 teams will get relegated?
I want to answer this as well.
You can ask. Go on, because I want to as well.
Dan, buy me a minute because I haven't looked at the table, so you probably have clearer thoughts on this than me.
Yeah. Huddersfield, Rotherham.
Yeah.
And the third one's hard because I think Coventry, West Brom, and Middlesbrough get out of it. I'm going to go for Hull.
Oh. See, I was just looking at these two. I agree with Huddersfield and Rotherham, definitely. I was looking at Hull, I think Wigan.
Could do.
But, like you say, it could be Hull. Could be quite a few teams. It could be Stoke. It's that tight, though. I was looking. Coventry are on 16 points, obviously played less games than everyone else. And then Millwall and Sixth are on 26. It's 10 points separating playoff to relegation.
Yeah, I keep thinking that West Brom, Middlesbrough, and Coventry will get out of it. So Huddersfield are in quite a lot of trouble already.
Yeah.
And Rotherham, with, like I mentioned, with the next 5 of the 6 games away from home, they're going to drop like a stone, I think, Rotherham.
You're free, Angus.
So I think at the moment I'd have to agree on Huddersfield and Rotherham. In part because I could really see them getting dragged into it if the goals dry up. I'm going to say Bristol City.
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me either. That actually wouldn't shock me.
Do you know, they teared Luton apart when we played them early in the season.
Very weird side, because it was the Nigel Pearson side as well.
That's the problem.
Yeah, be interesting. Right, next question then, Dan. Shidabadabebe has asked, this person asks a question every single week, and they've never actually wrote in and say, this is my actual name. So, Shidabadabebe, can you just let us know your name so I don't have to do that every time, please?
I laugh if his name's like Clive or something like that.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's a man or a woman or
Yeah.
someone who doesn't identify as something, as a toast or whatever. But they have asked, which do you prefer for Game Week 20 double? QPR defence or one defender with Dykes? He already has chair. So basically he wants the triple QPR. He's got chair. We briefly discussed it, but just to answer it quickly, Dan.
I'd go Dykes.
Dykes and a defender.
Yeah.
Okay, and they've asked another question, Angus. I'll come to you. Should we avoid players on 4 yellow cards?
Oh, it's so difficult. So, I mean, I part of the reason I didn't go Bidwell in 17, for example, was that he was on 4 yellows. Because it's like I was saying with Morris earlier, if he doesn't get this booking, is you could end up with him getting booked in the first game of the double.
That'll be amusing.
And then it's just pointless. I think if a player is on 4 yellows, it's probably worth trying to delay bringing them in a bit until closer to 20 to see if they get booked.
Ahmed Odvic, he's on 4 and he's going to get booked. So it's going to be a disaster.
I think if you're buying new, like I don't think you need to sell players if they're on 4 yellows. But if you're buying,
no, you can't do that.
I'd try and wait and see if they get that 4th yellow, and then make a decision if they haven't got it by the double.
I hope it all causes chaos. I do. I really do. Just utter chaos for it. It'll be fantastic. Dan, I'll come to you then. Mike Hodgkins. We've already answered this question, but I'll just say anyway. Which 3 Watford would you fancy for Game Week 20? We've gone through that, haven't we? But thanks for listening and asking a question, Mike. Oh God, I can't say this guy's name. Jeans or Geens, sorry for butchering that. Planning for triple in game week 20. Who are your main captain picks for 20? Now that threw me off because I've literally just been looking for follow the leader.
I thought about game week 20.
And obviously you two are on it now, so you haven't considered it.
Saar,
So
Chair, Bree.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Dan?
definitely Saar and Chair. Maybe like Piero or Bafemi.
I saw and Chair definitely, and Tyrese Campbell. He's going to come good at some point if he doesn't get taken off after an hour when we're losing. Oh God, another name. Oh, I'm no good at this. Who am I coming to? Angus. Petteri Anunen. Apologies for that. Which teams to target double game week 20 follow the leader should start buying those teams in next? Yes, you should, Petri. We have discussed that. We have given you all the options. So take your pick and I hope it goes well for you, my friend. Who am I actually asking next? Because we've got Dan, was it you?
Yeah, go for me.
Carl JB has asked, am I up Pedro for upcoming fixtures? Already have Saar. What do you think? And is Saar, Sam, and Pedro the best three to go for? So again, we've answered that really, haven't we, with the Watford talk earlier on.
Yeah, I'd probably go Kamara over Sema.
Okay, nice, easy question for you here, Angus. George FPL has asked, if you had all of the boosts available, what do you think is the best for game week 20?
Follow the leader.
And he's also added underneath, follow the leader would probably be 8 players benefiting. I don't know.
Take the extra hit to
what
get
it
9.
means. Yeah, absolutely. Get 9 in and enjoy yourself. Last one then, Dan. FPL Berwin has asked, Coventry, Watford, Middlesbrough, are these 3 okay for follow the leader in double game week 20?
Yep.
Yep. So yeah, it really has been the theme for the podcast, and I think it's going to be over the next 2 weeks as well, where we all start preparing. But I think, now we're all prepping. We've done a bit of prep. Some of them might have fell into it a little bit, but now really is the time to start making their moves to get 9 players if you're playing that boost, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm really interested with it being a new boost. Obviously, we don't know how it will score. We're thinking it's the best of the set, but I'm interested to see how it compares to the people who are playing triple. I think Follow the Leader is the best one to have in 20 myself, but it'll be interesting. And it's similar with this week, like with you guys on triple and me on Follow the Lead, Jeeps Keepers, which will turn out the best. It'll be interesting. I'll stop rabbiting on there about nonsense. Anything that you two would like to add before we leave?
No, just obviously the game week's not over. Spaces Thursday.
Probably.
Yes. Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. Do something before the weekend's game. Yeah, I've got a long weekend. I've got a nice trip to Norwich on Saturday.
Was it Norwich away?
Yeah, we've got Norwich away, and I'm going on what we call the party bus this time with Ash from the group chat and a couple of others. 6 a.m. pickup.
You're going to be paralytic.
Yeah, last time I went on this coach was years ago. It was Crystal Palace, and they nearly didn't let me in the stadium. They had to tell me to go get some food, so I just walked around the corner and ended up coming back in. But yeah, it was a mess. So I'll be hungover on Sunday, so I'll enjoy that one.
So
what was it? I did want to say something. What was it? Right. For you guys and the listeners, I need to say it quietly because my other half is upstairs, but she's playing Gaffr right. And basically, I'm basically doing a team for it. I'm ranked 337th, and let me just log into her team. She's ranked 187th now. Should I just fuck her off and just take over her team and call it mine so I've got something to play for? Or is that a bit harsh? What do you guys think?
A, it's a bit harsh. B, I think it would be funny to see if you can overtake her.
I wouldn't be able to take because I'm basically doing the moves anyway for it. Like, I play that one very sensibly because I know she'll moan if I do something stupid. With my team, I end up with I'm going to end up with triple Stoke, but I wouldn't do that. But I'm doing that very sensibly. So I won't take over it just so I can say I'm nearly in the top 100. But listeners, tweet me, let me know what should I do. Because I'll just say I don't know what's happened. Like, why you can't log in anymore? I'll change all the details so she can't get in. I don't know what's happened. I'll tweet the guys, see if they know, and then just keep liking it for weeks until she just gets bored and just doesn't bother with it anymore. That's the
You
plan.
said she listens to the pod, Janie.
No, not anymore.
Well, you won't let her now. She's beaten you.
No, she just has. She'll be like,
She's 2 hours long.
on Friday. Yeah. And I'm like, did you listen to the pod? No. I was like, that's your fault then, isn't it? It was all covered on there. I've had a chance to listen to it, so you have. I mean, she says she can't. She works from home. She's watching Netflix all day while she's pretending work. Don't tell me you can't put the podcast on. But yeah, enough of that. Right. That will be a wrap, isn't it? Good luck for the rest of what we end 17. And hopefully we'll see you at Spaces on Thursday. So thank you and good night.
Goodbye.
Bye.
All aboard!